We're here for you to be yourself.
Are we on?
Hi, everyone. We're here. I'm Meghan Murphy.
I'm Benjamin Boyce.
Great. We're 15 minutes late because I was putting my face on.
Yeah. She had a bask in some sort of maidenly pool, right? Earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, I went for a swim and I get big red goggle marks on my face, so it takes even more face fixing than normal.
Like a trash panda.
I guess, yeah, that's accurate. And I also, I understand your annoyance with my lateness, but I feel like I want to know how much time you spent on your face prior to this live stream.
Well, I am taking this new eye cream regimen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's working yet. I just want to shave 2 years off of my face. So I'm basking in this lotion concoction. I also have, I did conditioner in my hair first time in years. So that's why I'm a little extra poofy.
This is like ridiculous that I've been using under eye cream since I was like 20.
Yeah.
And always conditioner.
And now you're 28, right? So like
I've been using it for 7 years now.
Nice.
Is it working?
Okay. Yeah,
Do I look younger than 28?
You look there was a B word, but I didn't want to say bulbous. But nubile. Let's say nubile.
Buxom, I think, is the term that you
I did say buxom on Twitter. I wonder if you're going to bring that up.
I did notice, so I decided to dress accordingly.
I'm sure your audience really appreciates it. It really brings the boys to your milkshake.
So. I don't think about it all that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, in time of COVID, what do you have to think about?
God,
you are doing a lot of FaceTime with a lot of people, so there is that.
I see people. I've been exercising a lot and working a lot. Like, I feel like, so I'm aging, alas. And so I feel like my goal for this year was to just not age more. Like, I don't want to come out of this year looking a year older. It's like a wasted year. I haven't been able to go out in public and show people my face. So I'm trying to preserve it until I can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just you get some sort of bendy straw and then you lay face down overnight in a pool of palm oil and aloe cream of some sort.
Essentially
goat's milk.
Essentially. Yeah. And then I've been exercising a lot because of the aging, and I'm like, well, if my face is gonna age, I need to focus on having a hot spot or something, right?
Wait, what do you do while you exercise? What does your brain do? How do you make your brain not complain the whole time? Do you have that problem?
Okay. It depends. So I'm actually really enjoying exercise, probably for the first time in my life. Oh. And I've also, I never really did exercise very much before. I'm exercising also more than I have ever before, but I've actually found things that I actually like doing. So I enjoy it. In the past, I feel like I've tried to go to the gym, which I hate. And it's it's boring, but you can listen to podcasts. I hate yoga. I also find it really boring. And my brain doesn't work well with yoga because I just start making lists and having conversations in my head and I start writing things.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Composing things.
Yeah, I'll have an idea and start writing the article in my brain. I can't. Nice. I have trouble shutting down my brain. So if it's something that I don't have to focus enough on, then it's just an overthinking situation.
Yeah. I appreciate the ability to have some sort of musical mind, so that's what I end up doing. I'll work on a song or something like that. Because it's repetitive, and you just have to go over and over and over again, and then you get that little dopamine hit when you find the next rhyme or the next line, or the next little swervy of part of the tune, So that's kind of my mental bringing myself away from the exercise. But then usually something in my body. What do you do for
exercise? What are you doing?
I ride a bike. I have a bike in the hill. There's a hill and a bike, and I take the bike up the hill. And I just confront the limitations of myself as a man at my stage. in this great arc of biology, you know. So that's kind of what I do.
I know it's frustrating, right? Like I'm like, if I had been exercising this much when I was 30, like, man, I would
Oh,
have had an entirely
what
different
were you doing
body.
when you were 30 instead?
Partying.
Is that not a form of exercise?
I was in definitely not. I mean, I was in school. I was doing one of my women's studies degrees, so I was
Ooh. Wait,
thinking a lot
you
about
don't exercise during women's studies? Like, is there a lot of Pilates? You guys are
no, I
reading
was
Judith Butler.
sitting on the couch a lot and then like at the
Oh,
bar a lot.
oh, okay, yeah.
You know, and that's also when I started blogging. So I started doing blogging and
Did
podcasting and stuff
did the
like that.
women's
I mean, why
studies?
would you exercise if you didn't have to? I didn't really have
Yeah,
any real pressure to exercise because I
yeah,
wasn't fat. But and in retrospect, I do feel like I'd started exercising a bit earlier because to start now is more challenging.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then there's the pain, and then the
Yeah.
confrontation of that pain,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a
Your like
form of
body
humility
parts
and
are
courage. Yeah, and then you find different crooks and crannies of your body that you never knew existed that scream out to you in
yeah.
the early morning, about 4 a.m.
Like,
Say,
oh, I just hurt
why?
all the time.
Why?
But yeah, so I swim, which is sort of it's. I mean, I count laps, so you sort of have
Oh,
to
okay.
focus on that in the breathing, so my brain can't get too distracted. But I still
Do you go
do
in a
the thing
line or a circle?
a line. You just go
Okay.
back and forth. And then
You
I
guys don't
started.
like get together and make a whirlpool? That'd be cool.
Well, you're not really allowed to interact with other people. We all have to like socially distance at the pool.
Yeah, but you're in the same water. I guess it's filled with chlorine
Yeah,
and
you're
makeup. Yeah.
basically bathing in like chemicals, so
Pancake.
you're
Yeah.
safe. It's a real
Yeah.
safe place to be the
Yeah.
pool. And I've also been working with a boxing trainer, and I'm a beginner, so I have to focus really, really
Oh.
hard because I'm not good at it. So
Yeah.
you
Okay.
really can't think about anything else because it's like, what the fuck are my feet supposed to be doing? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah,
fun. Do you
it's
get
really
many
fun.
headshots?
Well, no, I'm like punching the guy's pads.
Oh, okay. But he's not punching you
So
back yet.
no, he sort of
Okay.
started trying to bully me a bit, but he hasn't started punching me yet. I don't think
That's
I'm ready to
great.
be punched just yet. Like he
That's probably
pushes
good
me
for
around. Like and
your
I'm like,
character. Yeah, being
ah.
pushed around. Yeah.
Okay, somebody in the live stream or the comments wants to know if your background is fake.
It's a reference to something that you guys are gonna have to figure out. So you're only seeing part of the picture too, so you're gonna have to find a couple other videos that I've done with this as the background. But it really is. I can't say the name of this room on Meghan Murphy's channel. It's actually it's very salacious and it's probably licensed to get banned from further speaking with you to have this particular image.
Really? Okay, somebody please figure out what this is because I
Yeah,
have
so
no
somebody's gonna have to figure out.
idea.
I will move out of the way. If you guys can see that,
I don't
if you can
know. I
see
don't
that
is this like
guy
some like a
in the very
literary
background,
reference or something? I know that it's going to be
actually, you could
something
say
that when somebody says what it
people.
is, I'll
You
be
know
like,
what?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh no, people do read it for the articles, so it does have literary merit, or it used to. I don't know what's happened to it anymore. But this publisher, very famous man, and I believe he's passed away. So,
Somebody says it looks like he's at the Library of Hogwarts.
ooh, it looks like what at
It's
the
the
library?
board game Clue. Is it the board game Clue?
No, no, it's a very famous publisher's library room. Very famous publisher.
Okay, there's a lot of people with some interesting theories here.
Yeah. See, this is fun.
Hugh Hefner?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's the
No,
Playboy Mansion.
we're just spend the whole live stream trying to guess
No, they were right.
what room you chose.
They were right. Yeah.
What? Oh, okay,
It's a
two
play.
people got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we
three
go.
people got it. Four people
Good
got it.
work. Do you
Five
have
You
prizes or
guys.
emojis that maybe I should give you guys an emoji? I'll go over
I can't.
quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as
There
technologically
we go. Here we
savvy
go.
as you are, so you do
Yeah,
it.
let's give them a prize.
Nice work, you guys. I never would have figured that out.
Great job.
Yeah, next time do the grotto in your background.
The grotto?
Yeah, at the
Okay.
Playboy
I'm gonna
Mansion.
take a note. The grotto. I don't know what that is.
You
I'll have to look that
don't.
up. What is it?
No.
Is that like a Roman legionnaires
It's a at
killing
Hugh
room?
Hefner's Playboy Mansion. It's like the
Like where the
the
shooty water is?
dungeony water area, and everyone goes
Oh.
down there to like do disgusting things,
Oh, okay. Yeah, gross things.
dirty
Actually,
things.
didn't you want to talk about like that very interesting subreddit that you found?
Yes.
And
Okay,
of
so did you
course,
look at it?
yeah, I spent some time there. What is it called
Okay,
again?
okay. So, you guys, it's called the Female Dating Strategy subreddit.
And it's
I read an
female
article, Female Dating Strategy.
slash r female dating strategy on Reddit.
Yeah, here I have it.
Strategy.
Yeah, Female Dating Strategy. And there was an article, I didn't know about this, but I came across an article at Mel magazine, which I often
Ooh.
hate, so I don't even
Oh,
know how I came across it.
why? What's the?
Well, you know what? Actually, I should revisit it because I used to hate it just because it was too like mannish.
Oh,
I
it's
don't.
called male.
Well, it's for men.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just like my eye cream.
Is your eye cream for men? It's like a
I
man
don't
eye
know what it
cream.
makes. I don't know what it makes. There's probably progesterone in it or something like that. Some sort of extra collagen activity going on. It does stimulate me. I think there might be some form of methamphetamine in their cocoa leaves or something like that. Makes it hard
Like
to
if
sleep.
you can feel your, I think you're
It's
just
like,
imagining things because you've never put cream on your face before, and you're like, this feels weird,
well, I did put a whole bunch on, and then I watched that Fred
slimy.
Rogers movie, and I just bawled the whole time, and then it got all in my eyes. Mr. Rogers. I just like that was a breaking
I
point for
didn't
my
like
manliness.
the Tom Hanks one
Yeah,
or the
Tom Hanks
doc.
one.
I
I didn't see the
cried.
doc.
I watched the doc and
Okay.
cried.
Yeah.
I'm a crier. Are you a crier? Do you cry a lot?
There's a couple of movies. Like if I really, really need to like exhaust my anxiety, I'll watch like The Time Traveler's Wife. Now I'll
I've
watch
not
that
seen that.
Fred Roger one. Yeah, Time Traveler's Wife. The end, you'll just like it'll crush you. At the end, there's like the last scene. You're just like, no. It's
I'm
like
not gonna watch it
no.
then.
You have to
I don't.
watch it. You
No,
have
I
to see
cry
it.
all the time. Like I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
I
So you
don't
have
like.
enough. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't like sad movies. I don't like crying, and I'll cry at anything. Like I'll cry at something
Oh,
happy. I'll cry at something sad. I'll cry if
oh.
there's like an animal
Yeah,
in the movie.
like a
Um,
dog running
I
away
can't watch
from a
animal
crow.
stuff or like even wildlife
Yeah.
stuff. I get too upset. So, and
Sorry,
I'll be
Megan.
sitting in my house and I'll be like thinking about something sad and start crying. I'll like think about my
Oh,
dog and start
you can
crying. I'll
just
think about,
on
well, I don't do
demand.
it on purpose. I'll think
You
about
don't?
like my heartbreak and start crying. I'll
Yeah,
think about my
yeah.
mom and start crying.
Oh, mom.
Yeah.
That's
But
good. That's a really healthy way to purge the humors. Get the biles in their right order and stuff like that.
like, do you feel like you have trouble crying because you're a man? Like you'd like to cry more than you do?
No, I cry the right amount of time. I cry the right amount of time. If I'm getting really anxious and stressed and I can't let it go, a good movie like really helps to just like kind of push it out because I can't just cry.
Okay.
But I enjoy it when it's a good dramatic situation, like somebody telling the group of friends that they love them. You're like, yeah, friendship. I wish
Yeah.
I knew what that
I
felt like.
wish I
You're
had
just like,
that.
yeah.
And but do you feel like was it something that was repressed in you and you had to sort of learn to let it out, or you were just always able to cry?
It was never a big deal to me. The whole meme about men not crying, it's just like, it's not that big of a deal to me. I cry. I find it a beautiful experience. It's up there with, other bodily functions that are pretty enjoyable. But, but I cried a lot when I was 19, 20. I think I was probably pretty depressed. Then I kind of got
Okay.
over that. And then I had a breakup and I cried for a year, so, but then I just don't need to
Oh,
cry anymore, so.
I'm
But
glad to
every
know
once in a
that
while it's
I'm not
nice.
the only person who cries for an entire year after a breakup.
That's actually what I thought we were kind of talk about this female dating
Yeah,
strategy.
sorry, we're just chatting. Are you not
No,
having
it's
a good
fine.
time?
I'm having a great time. We're
You're like, let's
bantering. I
get
think
back
the
on
audience.
topic.
I don't know how the audience is responding to this. Maybe
Well,
we need to feed them more emojis.
I mean, who knows?
Give
I don't
them
know if
more.
they're enjoying themselves or, I mean, who cares? Who cares what they think?
I care. I care
I'm
about the
joking. We're here
audience.
for you guys, obviously. That was a
I'm gonna give
total
them
joke. I do
a
care.
fairy.
It's
And
sometimes hard for me to predict what people like are entertained by or interested by. Probably not just us
Genie.
chatting about nothing.
I'm just feeding them emojis.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Maybe we can make them cry.
Oh, fuck. I don't know.
I wonder if people have ever cried during my videos. Have people ever said that they cried during your videos?
Mm, I don't think so. Although I think the very first video that I we did like on Patreon, I was talking about my breakup and I started crying.
Oh,
Actually, it's not a
oh,
public one. It's just I like literally my eyes started tearing up and I
huh.
started
Yeah,
crying. So maybe I wonder if I made anybody cry like via my sadness.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It can be infectious. I can't imagine you crying, so I'll have to sign up for your Patreon to get the full Meghan Murphy experience. Unless I can
yeah.
get you to cry in this live stream
I
in a very
think I
nice,
make
gentle
too
way.
many jokes nowadays. Like I think
Yeah,
I'm not
you're above it
serious
all.
enough on YouTube. I
Yeah,
just turn everything into a joke, even the
yeah.
sad
It's
things.
probably the best
I'm
coping
so
method.
miserable.
2020.
Can I ask you, like, before we actually start talking about anything, how long do you
Oh,
have? Like 4 or 5 hours?
I should probably we should wrap it up at 7. Or if I can have a break at 6:30, like a 5 minute or 3 minute break at 6:30, then we can do another 45 minutes or something like that.
Okay, we'll see how it
So
goes.
we'll see how it
Um,
goes. I don't know if we have that
I
much to talk about,
can
but
I
who
ask?
knows?
Yeah, I mean, if we keep this up, then
Yeah.
what? Okay, so but how are you doing in like all the COVID stuff? Like, do you give a shit, or do you not? Are you? Does
Do
it
I
make
give a
any
shit? That's
difference to you?
interesting. I I feel bad for people who are negatively affected, and who I see negatively affected in my immediate circle is small businesses. I see that, and that's what I have the most concern for.
Mm,
I also have a lot of concern for the ways in which the government is violating civil rights in order to enforce something. And I know that that is a contested opinion, and I don't hold it very strongly. But I do, I am very wary of government overreach, and I'm very wary of small businesses being crushed by this and big businesses just advancing. That's part, entrepreneurialism is our path towards freedom, I think, in a lot
yeah,
of ways. And there are other ways to do that other than running small businesses. You run a small business, I run a small business. Media companies are doing really good right now. Online stuff's doing really good right now. Actually, the podcasting arena is kind of swelling with more and more people with big names getting on it, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be any better or worse than we already are. So there's that, and people have been very, for whatever reason, people have found the content that I did this year very valuable to them. So I've been okay, but I'm watching small businesses around me just completely get crushed by these government edicts. Now, if we all went full bore and just like took the hit, that death and destruction, would it be really big? I don't know. Would it be really terrible? It would be terrible for the people that whose lives would be affected, and the people who died. Like, I'm not pro death, you know, so it's kind of an interesting other side of this conversation, you know. But nature
yeah,
does this, and how many people are committing suicide and getting addicted to all these drugs and having severe mental health and having their financial lives completely devastated by this. And it seems like the conversation isn't really holistic in the media. So
yeah.
that's kind of my stance. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I share your stance. I feel really worried about all the small businesses that are going under. I've said this a number of times on other streams, but like in BC, more people are dying of drug overdoses than of COVID, and it's gone way up, the drug overdose deaths because of COVID, because it's the drugs can't get across the border, so there's
Oh,
more fentanyl in the drugs here, and because people just don't have access to services, and also of course I suspect just because people are so isolated, like
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel really badly for anyone who's trying to like run a small business, especially like restaurants, bars, you know, like fitness centers, gyms, stuff like that. And then like I'm doing fine financially I'm doing the same as I was before, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been able to produce more work because I'm at
Yeah.
home so
Yeah.
much more, and I'm not traveling and things like that, and I'm not doing events, and I'm not doing much media stuff connected to those events. So that's been sort of enjoyable for me, although I'm really tired of being home alone and in front of my computer so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I interviewed a gentleman. I think I posted it yesterday. It was about gender issues and stuff like that. But he really got vulnerable, really got into his life, and it was very evident that he is very dependent on society. And I think that it's easy for me to forget about those people who are really dependent on, on society. And I can see how drugs and let's say, any sort of addiction, like video addiction or
porn?
games or social media or porn, all these things creep in to fill that gap that is where people, highly social people, have that need. And I'm not. It was really a learning experience to see somebody that's really connected to a community and really needs that. I don't need that. That was beaten out of me quite young. By my vision of the nihilistic, alienation of the post-capitalist society that we live in. But so I've given up all hope, but there's still people who are connected to that.
Okay,
trouble.
so like I'm a highly social person and I'm
You
highly
are.
dependent on like society and
Yeah, that's
socializing
stimulation.
and being
Yeah.
around people, and yeah, and I need stimulation on a regular basis. Like I'm also just generally, Jesus
Generally or
Christ.
genuinely?
I'm sorry, I've only eaten 2 pieces of bacon today and now I'm drinking bourbon.
Why don't you have one more piece of bacon
I
with your
didn't
bourbon?
have time. This was at like 5 p.m. I'm like, better eat
Can't your dog get you an energy bar?
No, she's not useful.
Okay, well, later when we break out into the
I'll
wokeness
eat
carols, you
a
can
third
run
piece
over
of
and
bacon.
get another piece of bacon.
But like I also like I'm generally like a very like touchy person. Also like I'm a hugger. Like I hug people and
Yeah.
yeah, and I usually have so many social that's a big part of the reason I feel like I wasn't able to do much exercise before, because I just worked and socialized, and that was my whole life, like trying to fit in
Yeah.
all my work and then all my social engagements was left very little space for doing anything like healthy,
Yeah.
I
Do you think
suppose.
that you were afforded time to develop more of an internal kind of conversation with yourself over this lockdown period?
So I think that that's what I sort of decided. I decided when the lockdown happened, I was like, I'm going to use this time wisely in a number of ways. I mean, at first I was actually grateful to have more time for work because I'm constantly behind on work, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this extra
Yeah.
time to get stuff done. But somehow I managed to just fill up that time with more work, and now I'm just as busy as ever and always still trying to keep up. And then I also was like, okay, this is gonna be like a year for me, and I'm just gonna focus on myself instead of like all of this external stuff, and
Yeah.
like, try to just be like healthy and mind, body, and soul. And I try to like read books more instead of just like reading things on the internet constantly. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I was pretty like in touch with me. Like I still, despite being very social, I still value alone time a lot and do
Mhm.
spend a lot of time alone. And
Okay.
like
Yeah. Well,
last year I went on
writing is a
vacation by
very
myself a couple
solitary
times and stuff
activities.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, like I'm not really lacking for alone time. And it doesn't make me uncomfortable to be alone. Like I know people who
Mm.
it seems like they don't like being by themselves. They don't like living by themselves. They don't, they sort of want to be distracted at all times. And I'm not necessarily like that,
Well,
ironically,
there you
despite
go.
my addiction to socializing.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's an addiction. It's probably some sort of evolutionary advantage that you have. You know,
Like what?
probably being able to find the broadest swath of possible positive mating opportunities. So that's one side effect of social.
Well, then we get to the downside of COVID.
Oh, what's the
Like
downside? For enforced
no
monogamy,
mating
just like what
opportunities.
just what Jordan Peterson ordered.
Like, how are you supposed to meet another person?
I don't know. I think there's these dating apps.
I hate dating apps.
Really?
I fucking hate. There's like few things on earth that I hate more than dating apps.
Did
I
you have
find
you like spent like a month or two like trying one out at some point? No.
no,
Okay. I've
I'll
never
set
tried
up a
it.
profile, try to use it for like an hour and feel
Yeah.
annoyed and then turn it off again and never
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah. It's there's no reason for I could never think of a reason for me to do that because the dynamics of that favor the women's choice. So I'm already
Right.
competing with this ideal standard, and I don't want to compete in that way. I just rather be me and hang out, and then every once in a while somebody like kind of thing.
Well, I've never had trouble dating before. Like I've never had trouble meeting people before. So I've
Mm,
never felt like there's any good reason for me to use a dating app. I
mm,
also find it like I'm not interested in competing. Like I'm not gonna compete with other women for men's attention. I have zero
yeah,
interest in doing that.
yeah.
I don't feel like I need to, and I'm not saying like I don't need to because I'm so great. I mean, part of it, obviously. But
But it's
um
beneath you.
well, it is beneath me, and I'm not desperate. And I also feel like the kind of man who would be attracted to me isn't the kind of man who would just be attracted to any random woman
Mm,
on a dating
mm,
app. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Like, I feel like I
mm.
have a distinctive enough personality that you'd have to be a particular kind of man to be. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of men who are attracted, but like the kind of
Yeah,
man who would be specifically interested in this specific kind of person that I am isn't,
yeah,
I think, going to be the kind of man who's like, sure, you like yoga and coffee, like
yeah.
basic.
In
Does that make sense?
I believe that OkCupid, and this is, I'm not an expert in this, but I believe I was talking to somebody and they told me this, so this is secondhand information. I believe OkCupid developed a way to match personalities. It was, and this is probably, I don't know when that came out, probably the early 2000s. So it was
Mm-hmm.
more about a psychological profile, and the amount of success that that app has had for long-term relationships is pretty high. But this whole dating app thing, the smartphone thing, I think is a totally different. I mean, just the physical activity of swiping and other just the distilled nature and the iconography of distilling yourself into a photo and then distilling yourself into like 4 or 5 lines in a witty text. It really scrunches and compresses what a human being is, and therefore everything involved in a relationship. And then I think you have a lot of people processing out of that, and maybe this female dating strategy is partly a way of people kind of processing more complexity into their conception of what a relationship could be
Yes.
or should be.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I like back when OkCupid was a thing, I signed up for OkCupid for like a month, kind of as an experiment. Like I
Hmm.
thought, oh, this will be interesting, or I'll learn something and I'll be able to write an article about it.
Oh.
Um, but I sort of quickly learned, and I think that OkCupid is significantly better and more interesting in general, but to somebody like me, in terms of like the things that I don't like about dating apps are the things that you've brought up. Essentially, it's like there's no information there. Like I am never going to go on a date with somebody based on what they look like oh, there's your face, like nice face, like there's so much
Yeah.
more than that to me, and it's so personality dependent and chemistry
Yeah.
dependent that
Yeah.
just doesn't work for me. But on OkCupid you can provide so much information, so you can see if they're a good writer, like what their sense of humor is like, what kind of taste in music they have, which isn't necessarily a deal breaker, but you can tell if somebody is sort of interesting based on those kinds
Hmm.
of things sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so while I was on, I'm trying to think of what year this would have been. Like, maybe it may have been like 10 years ago or something. Is that sort of when OkCupid was around?
I mean, it's still around,
But
but
well, when more
I think it was
people
big
were
for probably 2020 to 2010. We could probably look it up, but maybe I
mm,
shouldn't. But it's just a
well,
date. It doesn't matter.
so when I was on it and I was sort of engaging with people, but I sort of quickly realized that I was engaging with people and messaging back and forth, and I didn't want to. Like, I felt like it was a waste of time, so it was annoying to me. Like, I was like, ugh, I don't want to spend more time online than I do already. And of course, now it's even worse because I spent all of my work is online, so I'm really online all the time. 10 years ago, it would have been even less so. But I was like, I don't want to spend more time on the computer. There's no incentive for me to be messaging with people that I don't know. Like, if it's a friend that you're engaging with, you're maintaining a relationship. If you're messaging with some stranger that you don't even know if there's any connection to, it feels like a waste of time. And then I also I was like, I'm not going to go on a date with any of these people ever. Like, why am I'm wasting their time? Like, they're messaging me and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I'm not going on I would rather I don't want to put pants on for somebody that I don't know. I'd rather just go out with my friends or stay at home in my sweatpants. Put on pants and go out on a date with a stranger who there's like a 90% chance that you're going to be boring and I'm not going to be attracted to you. Like,
I think in that situation, the female still has the upper hand on the choice. And this is why I said I said the other day on my channel that I just don't understand dating. I never dated. But like that purposeful, we are going to go and test out each other and scope each other out in this over food, on this thing. But then there's this whole judging thing the whole time. And then that means that I would be performing. So I would probably be showing parts of my personality that are either, not fully me or something that I don't want to be all the time. Like, I like finding somebody where I can not be the person that I am in front of people, that's part of the test of me. Like, oh, here we're walking and we haven't said anything for, half an hour, 45 minutes. Like, okay, there we go. A lot of together alone, kind of that part of the human experience. Like, I want to share time with somebody. And plus I just feel like just the what are we getting out of this situation? And then with dating, so-called, there's this whole casual sex thing. It's like, so that's involved. Like, I don't want to judge somebody based on whether I can bed them immediately or not. I mean, if the chemistry's there, the chemistry's there. That's a whole other thing. But like being put in this random situation to do that, there's just all these parameters to that make it fake, that don't make it something that can ever really... Maybe, like there's a low probability of that working out to some sort of healthy, deep relationship. But it's still there, so you might as well take the chance. And I'm not bagging anybody who needs to go through that to find their mate. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I'm not judging. I know a lot of people who've met partners and fallen in love through dating apps, so I can't judge them. But for me...
Is this your bacon box? Or are you taking...
This is my ice container. I'm making... so that I can have access to new drinks. So I have ice.
Why didn't you put some frozen bacon beside you?
Well, that would be gross to be like eating bacon on the live stream.
Well, maybe. No, I think it'd be what I think. If you're going to do it on any live stream, it's this live stream.
I mean, you're right. Probably someday you all will see me eating bacon. I'm like, I just need some protein. Like my brain. But like, okay, so so I've always, all of my boyfriends, I don't feel like I date. Like, I feel like I sort of meet people who I kind of already know, or who are friends of friends, or I know from wherever. Like, they're not strangers. Like, I don't go out on dates with strangers. It's not like there's some random man at a coffee shop is like, hey, would you like to go on a date? And I would be like, no, I don't know who you are. Same thing with dating apps. You're a complete stranger. And it also just happens more organically. Like, you're hanging out with somebody and it just sort of turns into, you start feeling some way, and maybe you start hooking up, and then you start somewhat, you know what it's like, similar to that like eye cream feel, like sort of tingly,
hormonal, and maybe it's like some sort of stimulant.
Say something grosser and then stop myself.
Okay, I don't know. Do you use semen on your face regimen? I know people do that. I don't do it personally. I haven't visited that. I
mean, there's a number of words like moisturize that I could have gone for. Just like, gross. Yeah, I shouldn't even have said that. Like, okay. I feel like
we're speaking about sliminess, but sliminess is a part of staying young. Like, part of being youthful is excretions, right? And as you age,
It's true.
your
Like
excretions dry up.
You lose. My face is turning really red. Like it's true. I was talking to my facialist about this recently, and she's explaining. You sort of lose like plumpness and like moisture in your face, which is why you need to get facials, take a lot of vitamin C, drink a lot of water, and use like filler.
Filler.
Do you not know what filler is?
You know what? I had a huge zit once.
That's not what filler is.
And I put some of that face stuff on it, but it didn't match the rest of my face. So I did a whole video with like this weird thing, this weird streak. But so I just I keyed out. I made it a monochromatic video. That takes care of most facial blemishes on my channel. So usually if it's black and white, sometimes it's aesthetic, but sometimes there's something in my teeth or I have a zit and like it just disappears when I go like hardcore black and white.
There's like a number. There's a number of people in like the comments who are like, "What the fuck is happening?"
We're doing beauty tips.
Okay, so filler. I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this very well, but filler is like a. What is the product?
Okay, so you have a bunch of cracks in your body, and then you plaster it on, and that fills the cracks.
No, you get like you get vials, like you get shots into your face of something that sort of plumps up your face. No, it's not Botox. It's different. Botox freezes your face so that you don't get wrinkles. I have not had Botox. I just want to say this is my natural forehead. But most women that I know who are, around my age, like around 28 years old, have Botox. And I think men don't realize how many women have almost all of my friends who are,
do you think it's like making out with a waterbed, like kissing a woman with Botox? I wonder. Or like a water balloon.
No, it doesn't make any difference. There's so Botox is just like, it just freezes your face so that like that line just.
Yeah, but if you like threw like a Cheeto at it, would it like bounce off?
Feel it in your face, like it's
is that the stuff that the women put on their butts to make like
sort of it would be something similar to that. Look how like I'm getting so hot. I'm like getting a rash.
We broke you out in highs. I just wanted to make you cry, but now your lymph nodes are going off the charts. I guess we're gonna have to take it. Like we're just making Meghan Murphy excrete through her lymphatic system is overexcited at this point. Are you reading the chat, or is there a lot of like? Is it very saucy in the chat?
People are amused. Somebody just said we should get a room. You guys, we can't. COVID.
Yeah, COVID. And plus, I have a mansion and she's got a room. We're already in a room. We've mushed our rooms together.
We'll meet at the Fairmont in Seattle, and we'll drink tiny bottles of champagne with straws.
Yeah, or some sort of.
Do you remember the reference that I'm referencing? That was the Fairmont in Seattle.
Yeah, there was a bunch of champagne.
It was just me and Allie who were drinking champagne.
Yeah. No, I couldn't do the champagne. I'd already done some whiskey sours or something like that. I can't go champagne.
Yeah, you had the flu also, I think. We forced you
that was a really intense. That was an intense night of protest and monologues, and then a drinking party afterwards. That was pretty adventurous. It was a high point of 2020, actually, in a way.
Yeah, totally. It absolutely was, considering what happened shortly after, and everything turned into shit. Okay, but wait. I feel like we were going somewhere before we started talking about fillers. Right, the dating and the dating apps.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like the casual sex, I mean, the going on dates with strangers thing doesn't appeal to me at all, and I sort of feel confused by that whole situation. Maybe I would feel differently if I had I was gonna say maybe I'd feel differently if I'd moved somewhere and I knew no one there and I just had to go on dates with strangers. But I feel like even like knowing myself, if I were in a situation like that, I would make friends and then still just end up meeting people through friends or wherever. Like I think I'm pretty good at making friends, but and the idea, like going on a date with a stranger and then having sex with them seems disgusting.
Yeah, you know what? Disgust is, I have a very disgusting reflex in that. I have this weird archaic vision of like, I'm sleeping with whoever you slept with, and I don't know you. I don't know who
Oh,
like,
okay.
I don't
That's
want to
not where
connect.
my mind would go, but
I don't
okay,
want to
go on.
connect to all that. I don't want to connect to all that, like, and plus like, I would never
You
do
just don't
that
want
because of other
chlamydia. That's what
emotional.
you're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the viral level, but like I think that I really, this is just my woo-ness, but I think that there's an emotional level. I think that we take on the emotional burdens of our partner. I really do think that there's a lot of exchange of conscious level material that goes on when we interact with each other on a bodily level. That's my take. That's my sense of things, and that's what's kind of forced me into very like a a serial monogamy, or like just one person every once in a while, because I take on too much, and it's too heavy for me. Like the whole exchange of a relationship, it's devastating. It completely changes my world. When I cross the threshold of flirtationship into relationship, my center of gravity shifts. So I need to be very careful when giving somebody that responsibility or that much power over me. So that's what's really slowed me down in my life. And that's just
Okay.
because of how I'm built.
I think that's totally reasonable. I don't think things through
Yeah.
to the same extent that like for me it's not a conscious thing. It's more just that like naturally I mean, I'm monogamous because I think that just happens naturally. Like if I'm really into somebody, I'm just not into other people.
Mm.
But then there's also just for me, it takes a lot of energy to maintain one relationship. So
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
me, like I can't even imagine
Yeah.
where I would get the time or mental energy to focus on an entire like it's like bad enough. I'm sort of exact. I don't mean it's all bad, but it's bad enough trying
Well,
to
no.
deal with
Yeah.
one
No, it's a
person
big
and one
investment. Yeah.
relationship. Like that is very time consuming. Like on an
Yeah.
emotional level, like really literally finding time to spend with that person.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
talking things through, all the
Yeah.
communication stuff, dealing with all the inevitable problems that come up in relationships. Like the idea that I could
Mm.
do that with an extra person seems crazy to me. Like I don't understand polyamory at all for
Have
that
you interviewed
reason.
any polyamorous individuals? I think they
A
might
long
just
time
shut
ago.
off that level of themselves. Maybe they just shut off
Yeah,
that
maybe.
level of the conversation, or of the relationship, or only have that with one person, and then have all this more surface energy level flirtation ship stuff with a bunch of other people. I don't know how you would make it work. And when I did that very, very briefly, like I just made a mistake, for like a month. Like it tore me apart to have like three people that I was like attached to on that level. Like, and I just had to run away from it. But I was very young, and
Right.
I just kind of messed up for a bit. But that really turned me off from ever trying to do that seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I'm not like I've screwed up a couple of times, but not in a major way. Like I've never literally cheated on somebody that I was in a monogamous relationship, which is to say I've
That
never like
literally could be
slept with
doing a
somebody
whole lot of
else.
work, or not any work at all, actually. I
Well,
like that. I just wanted to point that out, just to chide you, just because we're having a deep conversation.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much
You don't
detail
need
I
to.
want
I
to
know. I
go
understand. No, I
into,
understand.
but
Like I think we've all like
I've
made
never
that turn.
cheated.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've done things that were sort of like, when you're in a situation with somebody where you're breaking up and making up and breaking up and making up, and
Yeah.
then you're on an off week, and then you like
Yeah.
kiss
Yeah.
somebody else, and then you're back on, and then you're like, fuck, this is weird. Like, I feel bad about this, but like,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is not. I'm
Yeah.
not entering into affairs with people or sleeping with other
You know
people
what?
when I'm in a
I
monogamous
appreciate you
relationship.
going that direction, because that's a very good point. Like that breaking up period is a very interesting part. And I think it's very important to actually go through that. When you inevitably, if a relationship's breaking up, you really need to go through that breakup. And it's very difficult, but like I think you learn a lot about yourself, and you really get to examine, or you have the opportunity to examine why that individual didn't fit, or why you didn't fit, or you learn a lot of things about yourself that you don't probably necessarily want to know. But it's an important thing, and we
Yeah, I
can
mean,
use
you
other
learn a
people to
lot
get
of
away from
things
that.
about, yeah, you're sort of looking fuzzy on your end. Is that just me? Are other people seeing that he's looking fuzzy? Somebody in the comments says that this is a date.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. We're good at dates.
I feel like
Podcasting is it is a date. Like I message random strangers and then I interview them, and it is exactly like a date.
It is exactly
there's no
like
expectation.
I mean, I don't know what the different thing that we'd be doing if we were on a date. We'd probably be still having this exact same conversation.
Not broadcasting.
I don't eat on dates. Are you crazy?
What? You don't even have like a piece of bacon? Like you just
No, I mean on early dates. If I was on a date with somebody, like if I was on like a first date with somebody, I would be way too nervous to eat. I would just be drinking. And it's too messy. Like I'm not going to go on a date with somebody and like have food in my mouth or on my teeth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
I'll eat my 2 pieces of bacon before the date.
Don't know why you do you at least have like a carrot or like a couple of orange slices?
I'll eat later. Like I'll have a
cool.
meal later. I'm not just gonna not eat ever.
No, that's fine. Like everybody's got like a different like eating pattern.
Well, like you know that I wake up at the earliest at noon, right?
Yeah, I do. I know that much about Meghan Murphy. She wakes up at least around noon. Like
dinner time is like 9 or 10 p.m.
Well, what's your let's take a little break from like this really heavy discussion.
Right.
Okay. What's the meal that you have ate the most in 2020?
Well, it's not interesting. I eat. This is not interesting, but yeah, I eat a lot of like kale Caesar salads with chicken. It's not interesting. That's just.
Is there a dressing? Oh, it's Caesar dressing.
Yeah, Caesar salad. It's. Caesar? I try to do like keto. Okay, this is what I do. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
It's not interesting. So during the week, like Monday to Friday, I try to basically eat like a keto diet. So like high protein, high fat. I try to remember to eat a vegetable now and then. And then on the weekends, I can eat whatever I want. So then on the weekends, I'll eat like an entire pizza. No, an entire pizza. Okay. Or like pasta or like something like that. So during the week, I don't eat that much. On the weekend, I'm hungover. So I know that I'm going to like want to eat shitty food. So I'm like making allowances for that. Like I've been up till 6 a.m. I want to eat an entire pizza to make myself feel better.
Oh wow, you have crazy intense COVID parties on the weekend. And what counts as a weekend? Is it still Saturday and Friday and Saturday? Okay, that's healthy.
Yeah, I mean it's different because you're not really going out to the bar until 2 or 3 a.m. and then partying after. It's like people come over at 7 and we get right into it.
Oh wow, you get
like a couple people, 1 or 2 people. That's it. The max I've had at my house is 6 people.
Do you do dancing or you guys just talk? Is it like the
we dance kind of thing?
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, we'll like yell at each other for a few hours, and then at a certain point, we'll have like a dance party.
That actually sounds really fun. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm fun.
I wonder if you like do hippie dance kind of stuff like this, or you're down here.
Like we're dancing to like WAP, like we're dancing to like rap music. So I don't know, whatever that looks like.
Okay. I guess like a lot of like popping and stuff like that.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be like a 40-year-old on YouTube doing like hip hop dancing.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Let's give these people the full experience. I don't know WAP. I don't know how to sing that for you, so.
Well,
I mean, I know what it is, but I can't sing it. I know, but I can't sing it in a way that would make you dance.
You're not going to trick me. Like, I'm already feeling a bit too relaxed in this conversation, so I need to like set some boundaries here.
Boundary Megan.
Okay. But I just want to quickly get back to the dating app thing, and then I want to talk about the female dating strategy thing, and like ask you what you think about that. So the dating app thing. Like I said, like I think OkCupid sort of makes more sense to me because there's more information. I just don't want to invest the time and energy, to be honest, and I don't want to bother again going on a date with strangers. The dating app thing, like it's like I'll sign up because everybody just, all my friends are like, well, you have to, like, I met so and so on there. Why don't you just sign up? And I'm like, because it's humiliating. But like, I don't want to be like, I don't feel like it's humiliating for you, just for me. I don't want to have to try to go on a date. But also, like, I'm not interested in any of you. Like, beyond that, it's like, I don't want to. Again, like I'm not just gonna, I don't enjoy the swiping process. I don't want to spend more time on my phone than I already do. I already spend too much time on my phone, too much time on my internet. I don't want to look at a screen anymore. And I am never, ever, ever going to feel attracted to or build chemistry with a face on the internet. So it just ends up being like, I'm getting a bunch of notifications and I'm ignoring them, and then I'm annoyed, and then I turn it off. And I'm like, I don't want it. Like, this is like, I'm just not gonna meet somebody this year. I'll meet somebody next year. Do you know what I mean? But seriously, like, it's like, I can't control it anyway. You can't control when you meet somebody. You meet somebody when you meet somebody.
Yeah.
It just happens. Like, it's not, it's totally unpredictable. Like, I think people think that, and maybe they're better off because they're maybe meeting people and in relationships. Like, they think that it's something that they can control, where it's like, I'm going to treat this like I'm trying to find a job, and I'm going to set up job interviews. But people do that, right? Like, the people who are successful with dating apps sort of treat it like a job. Like, it's like, okay, let's go on a date. See if I like you. Nope, out. Like, and I'm just like, I'm more of a, like, I just want, you know, to meet my prince and fall in love and swept off my feet. I'm joking. But, you know, I just want it to happen more organically. And I know that it will happen organically, and there's not really much I can do about it. It just will happen when it happens.
That's what okay. So first of all, heavy disclaimer, Reddits are crazy. Reddits are weird. Reddits are strange. You can't really judge a subreddit by any given post. You know, you really have to immerse yourself in it, because there's all these different voices, and the way that the algorithm works with upvoting, like, certain content gets upvoted. It can seem kind of radicalizing. It can get people into, there's a way that we think around here, and we're going to enforce that or impress that on every given situation. We're going to read a certain narrative into every given situation. So I don't want to necessarily critique, or we could critique female dating strategies, but we need to be aware that it's kind of an emergent thing. And the way that Reddit works is that it takes an ideology and it finds its adherents, and it pushes everybody that doesn't agree with it out. So it's, you really have to understand that that's how it operates.
Sure. I mean, so I don't spend very much time on Reddit. I've never really used, like, I'll use Reddit for research. Like, if I'm trying to research something, I'll use Reddit, but I don't engage on Reddit. But what I did think was interesting about female dating strategy is, I feel like it's sort of like, maybe it's like the female version of
the red pill.
Yeah, like, it's like, take no prisoners. Right? Be totally unfeeling, be unsympathetic, and approach men as sort of as though they're all useless and unreliable and liars,
opportunists, and judgmental. Like,
and
it's really, there's a lot of
they'll
judgment
do anything
on this,
for sex. Like, men
exactly,
are just out for sex, and they'll do anything to get sex. So you have to be super harsh. And just basically treat them as though, like, not be sympathetic or empathetic towards them, treat them as though just assume they're terrible people with bad intentions. And that's how you should go about dating. And you're a queen. And if you aren't treated as a queen on the first date, then get out. Like, fuck him. Like, he didn't bring you to a nice restaurant. He didn't pay. You know, I'm sure there's a number of other things also, but, like, he's not treating you right. Get out of there.
Yeah, I think that there is, I think that characterization is probably not inaccurate, but there's probably good and bad, effects of that. I think that In the article that you sent me, it was very well written. The woman said that it seems to be that the author of that article said that it seems to be this is a place where people work out their trauma. They maybe had some bad relationships or they've been abused, and this is a place for them to do that. And you can see that in women only spaces and men only spaces that are about men and women. You know, there's all this ideology, all this big talk, but underneath is a lot of broken people, actually. Like, and you can kind of see that these ideologies are for broken people. But at what point is it necessary for women to be empowered? How do you empower women in kind of maybe pushing them to be a little less empathetic, a little bit more calculating in the male, in having that male in their life, because it is, there's a side of romance that's very intoxicating for a certain number of people. Other people, it's not intoxicating at all, probably. But a certain number of people are intoxicated by that, and they need to be brought down to earth, So I think that it could be useful in that way.
I mean, I found it very empowering. I'll be honest. I was like,
What?
wow, this is what I
Specifically?
should be doing.
Okay.
Well, because it's like I feel like I've been too empathetic towards people who treated me badly, right? And I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
that a lot of women do that. Like I think that you give a lot of chances to men thinking, oh, well, they have all these problems, so I don't want to,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be, I need to be patient with him. Like I need to give him time. I need to be sympathetic. Like, oh, women are like taught by like psychology or pseudo psychology or whatever. It's like, oh, he has attachment issues or abandonment issues or there's trauma. And so I need to be more, and women are socialized to be nurturing and caring and to think about other people's feelings before their own feelings. I'm speaking in generalizations, but I think those generalizations are not inaccurate.
I don't think they're inaccurate. I would just say that there's probably a lot of biology going on. I know that gets me in trouble with a certain contingent, but I
I
do think that
mean,
there's a lot of biology going on.
okay. Like I don't think that you're necessarily wrong, but I think that
I think it's an open issue. You have to afford that there's a lot of internal and external pressures for men and women to generally behave how they generally behave.
I mean, okay, like I don't know. I always think that it's a combination of both and we're never going to know what the combination is and it's going to be
Yeah, but you
different for
lean
different
towards
people.
societalization or
I have
socialization.
always leaned in the past I've leaned almost 100% towards socialization, and I've changed my mind in the past couple of years through like indoctrination from the
Oh, the
far right
alt-right. Yeah.
internet.
Oh, far right. I'm far right. Yeah, I have poisoned your mind
You poisoned my
somewhat.
mind, and then I got
Yeah.
turned on to all these other people who
You
poisoned my
probably
mind
listened to a
further.
Jordan Peterson video, or maybe
Yeah,
even
and then was
invited to chat
brainwashed
to Ben
into
Shapiro or
believing
something
that
like that.
evolution had something to do with our behavior.
I don't
God
know.
forbid.
God forbid that
The
it's
dark
kind of
side.
how we survived this long. It's an open
But
question, and I understand the avoidance of biological essentialism because it does seem to lock us in. And on a certain level of reading, I can see how women feel like and are denigrated by societal roles and biological roles of being more responsible than men. Women tend to be more responsible than men, and I think that there's a mixture of societal expectations and just hardcore reality of childbirthing. I think childbirthing has sculpted female psychology on a biological level, and you can't
of
get away
course,
from that. Yeah.
sure,
I just
naturally.
want, yeah. Okay.
But I'm just from my own experience, like
Yeah.
I can tell that my behavior is socialized and was impacted by the behavior that was modeled to me by my mother, for example, and by
Yeah.
other women, and that I'm influenced by my female friends who would be like, oh, like, don't be so hard on him. Like, oh, he's struggling. Like, he's having a hard time. Be nice. Like, be understanding, and being like, oh, okay, yeah, I should try to understand why he's being such an asshole to me. It's because he's really stressed out. Whereas men don't tend to respond in that way. Like, I feel like a lot of men in my experience are just like, this is bullshit. Like, fuck off. Like, like I'm not putting up with this. And again, not all men, not all women. But I feel like women stick it out and are more empathetic in relationships and take a lot more shit than men do, to be honest, and do the, I know this term is sort of like loaded and annoying at this point, but women do more of the emotional labor. Like women are more likely to be the ones who are like, we need to sit down and have a conversation about this. Like, let's go to couples therapy. Like, this is a problem. Let's get it out in the open. And men are more likely to be like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, this is the idea of talking about it is stressing me out. I just want to pretend this isn't happening. Let's just be fine and have our relationship and have a fun time. And meanwhile, I'm on the other end feeling like tortured by something because I want to talk about it and I can't.
Yeah. There's one other aspect of this community, female dating strategies, that I find kind of fascinating, and they hate lib fems or liberal feminism. They really
there's like a radical feminist thing in the female dating strategy subreddit, right?
I think so. Oh, I don't know. I would actually have to ask you to define radical feminism again, but I know they hate liberal feminism. So is radical feminism defined by its hatred of liberal feminism?
No,
because it seems like they're arguing
feminists
against casual sex. Okay, so there's a big. Does it work the other way? The liberal feminism doesn't hate radical feminism, do they? Unless
I'm not officially, but I think that that's what I was going to say, is that liberal feminists or third wave feminists would hate radical feminists because they hate TERFs. So that's what it would be about, or SWERFs. So it's like radical feminists are the ones who would be opposed to pornography and prostitution, and then labeled
sex working exclusionary.
Yeah, so they won't say we hate radical feminism. They'll say you people are bigots because you hate trans people or you hate sex workers, which is of course not true. But I think that a lot of modern radical feminism is like, we hate liberal feminism, we hate third wave feminism, we hate mainstream feminism. And as you brought up, this female dating strategy subreddit is opposed to the idea that casual sex is empowering.
Yes. Yeah, and I think we're seeing multiple, and beyond this, I think this is one instance of we're seeing a multiplicity of reactions to something that kind of came to light in the 60s. This kind of very liberal, multicultural idea. I think something in our society has soured. And there's a lot of decadence going on. And it's happening in certain bowers of radical trans rights activism. It's happening in certain bowers of anti-racist or racism. We can call it the woke. We can really say that wokeness is civil rights movement gone wrong. It's gone decadent. And there's liberal feminism, the embracing or the denying of certain aspects, negative aspects of, let's say, sex work. It might be a part of this reaction. And it seems like one thing that might be ascendant is kind of a more trad society. It seems like people might be going, like the Gen Z might be swerving towards some sort of conservatism. And it's kind of Gen X's unique ability to kind of shape or warn them about going too far in that direction, but still accounting for the excesses of, super libertine society. That I was thinking out loud, that's a very broad thesis that I've been kind of just pondering.
I can see people leading more towards conservatism as a reaction to the woke laugh, for sure. But I don't know that would be like a Gen Z thing. I mean, I just see that happening in general with, like, and I don't want to say like, oh, I'm a conservative now. Like, I don't want to be an anything. Like, I don't.
But you've gone through that switch too over the last 5 years. Something soured where you were comfortable. Something soured in the general left. Something went decadent.
And I don't buy it. And what I think I've come to realize is that there's like useful ideas on more than one end in more than one place. It's not, obviously the left isn't all right. There's so many problems I have with the left, or like the right is all right. But there's like good ideas in various parts of the political spectrum, or whatever you want to call it. And probably like I have become more conservative in certain ways. And so, and I think that, if we think about like people who've always voted Democrat voting Republican for the first time in their lives, in a lot of cases that is a reaction to the woke left and feeling like the left is not talking about real issues, and you
Yeah.
know that the Democrats are elitist, et cetera, et cetera. So the issue that I'm having with what you said is that it's like Gen Z is turning towards conservatism. Like I have no idea if
Allow me
that's
to
true or not.
qualify that really quickly. I think that Gen Z is in a particular position to actually have that cemented in their generation, right? As kind of like a defining, I think that they might be reacting to parts of millennial, like this weird woke area where everybody's protesting non-existent issues, everybody's being really authoritarian. I think people might be reacting to that just as a generation. It's kind of, I'm not saying
so.
it's only then. Yeah. I'm just saying somebody is asking something good, and I think it is important for you.
Yeah, I know. I saw
to define radical versus liberal feminism.
Yeah, sorry that you're frustrated last first. I mean, simply radical feminism is about getting at the root. So it's about changing the system, whereas liberal feminism is about changing sort of surface, more superficial aspects of society. And I mean, I don't really feel like that's a good way to explain why radical feminists hate liberal feminists, because it's not as though radical feminists wouldn't support legislative changes, because of course radical feminists do support legislative changes, and that could be viewed as something superficial, like, oh, we'll change some laws, instead of like undoing and overturning patriarchy itself. And the reason that I'm sort of hesitant to define this is because that's what I would have said in the past, but now in the future I realize that I can't explain what that system is. Like, I don't know what that would mean to overturn the system, and I'm not in support of necessarily overturning any systems. Like, I don't want a revolution, to be honest. Like, whereas in the past, I think I would have said, like, we need to undo everything and smash the patriarchy and smash capitalism. And it's like, I don't actually think that everything about this system or the way that we operate is so bad. I mean, it depends on where you live in the world, right? Because in some places it is really, really bad. But if we're talking about North America or we're talking about Canada, things aren't so bad. And, you know, there's, you know, lots of different, like, sexism does manifest itself in different ways, whether it's just like one-on-one interactions or in more kind of systemic ways in terms of like industries like the porn industry and like sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And then there's legislative issues that we're dealing with now around gender identity and sex-based rights.
But you got really practical at some point, less ideological. I think it seems, I don't want to put a narrative onto your life, but it seems like you swerved from like working out these ideals into like, okay, what do we actually do? What can we actually do? And in the process of actually trying to materialize your ideas, you're like, things are a lot more complex.
Yeah.
Then I thought, and I actually trust the institutions more than I thought I do. Because if you tear them away, or in another way of thinking, if I follow the people who actually do want to tear it away, I see what's in their eyes and I don't necessarily want to follow them. You know,
I don't want these people to be our new leaders. Like, it's like, okay, so we overturn the system and then you're in charge? Like, no, I don't know if I feel comfortable. Like, I don't trust you either. And like, I just sort of decided, I mean, I'm not interested in ideology in general. I'm interested in like practical solutions to practical problems, and think we have to get like a lot smaller rather than getting bigger, which is sort of the problem with saying, oh, we have to overturn a system. And it's like, what does that mean? Like, in practical terms, what does it mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything as far as I'm concerned. It just sounds like a radical thing to say, right? But the reality is that we need to be getting more local. So we need to be getting smaller, and we need to be thinking about like real people's day-to-day lives and how we can make those day-to-day lives better, like helping people with basic things like, you know, employment, housing, job security, healthcare, you know, their kids, like school, whatever, like access to healthy food, things like that. And this tearing down the system thing just doesn't make any sense to me anymore, and I don't know if it ever made any sense to me.
But it felt good.
I think it just feels like, yeah, everything's wrong, like tear down the system. And because I do tend to see things as like interconnected. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Okay. Yeah.
compartmentalize. So it makes sense to be like, oh, well, how can we talk about like stopping prostitution without talking about like ending pornography? Those things are
Hmm.
intertwined. Or like, how can we talk about objectification and not be talking about strip clubs or talking about pornography? It's like, well, we have to do everything, but at a certain point I was like, that's not realistic to do everything. Like
Hmm.
you can't just change people's minds about every single thing. You need to deal in specifics.
Yeah. 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 I think what the probably the most probable way to shift people's worldview is to go through an ethical route, like to really kind of just be a preacher and a practitioner of certain values and certain ethics that then people kind of say, you know, that makes sense or that feels better than the other belief I had, and then they start acting that out. Like I'm trying to translate systemic thinking into something that's the most practical systemic thing you can do is to try to promulgate, I guess, humanism, or in the sense of if you want to change the root, if you want to get radical about pornography and about sex work, you really have to foster empathy in the people who participate in that stuff, kind of foster some sort of level of understanding of what the other person is going through, who is doing that sex work, who is being put into a position to make that pornography against their will. And if you, you know, like you work on the demand side of things by kind of forwarding a sort of awareness of what people are actually doing. To foster that is a conservative thing, though. To foster that
Yeah,
is kind
right.
of, you're like, well, am I going to get teetotally, you know, am I going to start to become like this alt-right, far-right figure? Or am I going to try to like figure out the best way that brings the happiness to the most people? And those ideas actually are much older than any other idea that's been come up with, just basic, you know, respect and stuff like that.
Right. To be honest, I don't know how to deal with pornography because I feel like I would like pornography not to exist, but I also don't support censorship and I don't want to like ban a thing.
Mm,
And the only thing that I can come up with is sort of disincentivizing pornography. So making it harder to make money off pornography because obviously that's like the incentive for these companies is it's very profitable. Because to me, it's not just about whether or not somebody consents or not. I think that pornography is really unhealthy for the people
mm.
who consume it as well as the people who perform in it, even if those people are consenting and are not trafficked or
Well, I mean,
minors.
and you're getting down to a value position, like, and the value that you landed on is healthy. Like, what is healthy, and how do you wake people up to being healthy without stepping
Yeah.
over any line? You have to kind of just present it out there, and then people will either go toward it or not go toward that. But could you define? This is my interview role, and it's not my channel. But could you define what you mean by why pornography is not healthy? What is unhealthy about that?
Well, because I think that so much of pornography is degrading and disrespectful and misogynist. I think that the bulk of pornography is not respectful to women. I think it's degrading. I think women are being like treated in ways that are not respectful and like that, you know, they're
Hmm.
being subjected to sex acts that most women don't really enjoy. So that it's sort of like modeling sexual behavior to men that isn't about both people. It's about like
Okay.
his enjoyment and of course and a lot of it's violent. Like I think that that's like true. I mean, I don't consume pornography, but obviously I've seen pornography and I sort of like avoid it because I don't like it and I don't
Mm,
like those
mm,
images in my brain. But I
mm,
think there's that. And I think that there's also the factor that I think that it's real that men's ability to stay hard during an actual sexual interaction with an actual woman has been impacted negatively by their porn use because their brains have, you know, learned to be turned on by watching this thing. And then when they're faced with like a regular sexual interaction that's less extreme or less graphic or, you know, slower, maybe less like exciting, then they can't perform or they can't, you know, participate and really be there, because they've sort of retrained their brain to function in this way as attached to their
to
direction.
you, sexuality is a communicative act. Then that's
well,
like that.
not
To break it
always,
down,
but
it's kind of okay.
sure.
Well,
Like,
yeah, not always, but
I mean, for me personally, like, it's like, I, you know, sexuality involves another person and my relationship
yeah,
to that other person. It's not just a me on my own. It's not just a me on my
and
own thing. It's not
yeah,
just a selfish thing. Like, it's not like, it's about how you feel about that person. And so, yeah, I guess communicative. I'm just saying, I mean, I hesitate because I don't want to say that's true for everybody. Obviously,
yeah.
there's a
Well, no,
lot of people
I
who
think it's important. I think
enjoy
that
masturbating.
yeah, yeah. I think well, I just think that if you get down to it, I mean, it's kind of inescapable. This might be kind of me advertising for some sort of relativism, but it seems that your morality is based on your experience. And so
Yeah.
it's based on what you find enjoyable, and then it stacks up from there. And you say from that position, which is a valid position, you're probably by far not the only person who feels that way. And from that position, pornography is an intrusion into that. And it cuts down or it degrades that immediacy and that all the nuances involved in that communication and that act and that
It's not, I mean, it's not just that. It's also that again, like, I feel like pornography is teaching people things about sex and sexuality that are at least not helpful and at worst harmful.
in the
And, you
context
know,
of a relationship, which is
in
basically
a
what sex
context of
is.
any sexual interaction, like, you shouldn't be having sex with somebody where it's about like you imposing your fantasies on another person if they don't necessarily want those fantasies or don't want to engage, or if it involves kind of like violent acts. I mean, it's complicated because it's like, you know, when it comes to sex, like, people do obviously engage in
There's a lot of different
behaviors and
ways
practices
going
that
on.
aren't going
Yeah.
to line up with your morals and your politics and your ethics, like me as
Well,
well. Like, I'm not.
I've spoken with enough sexologists to understand the depth of paraphilia. I haven't gone down the entire thing, but it's pretty deep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think, and I also, I mean, to me, I've sort of always wondered what's necessary about pornography. Like, why is this a thing that we need to exist? Like, what is its purpose? And of course, there's a million things in society that have no purpose, and I wouldn't want to get rid of all those things, because then you would
But
start arguing, like, well, why do you need wine? Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So,
but pornography probably disproportionately negatively affects people's view of women and the treatment of women. And what kind of why we brought this up, or kind of why we're talking about this, was because Pornhub like killed like 40% or 50% or some crazy amount of their videos because they were under threat of this really. I didn't go into the whole thing. But something about like there was this one company that was abducting women or forcing women into acts and then
yeah, well, there
publishing
was
them or
that,
something.
but
It was
then there was
non-consensual.
also that, like, there was,
Underage
because
stuff.
users can upload porn
Yeah.
to Pornhub, so there was a
Yeah.
ton of stuff that was of minors and of like non-consenting
Yeah.
young women. Like, it's like somebody made a video of me and then uploaded it onto
Or
Pornhub,
you
and
made
now
the
millions
video
of people have seen it,
for
and
a
somebody,
personal, yeah.
yeah, took it and put it on there. And so, yeah, so it's about user uploads.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess the problem that I had with that whole discussion was that it was focused and it was people are so afraid of being called sex negative or anti-porn that they're like, but we're talking about minors, we're talking about children. Like, it's fine for everybody else. Like, it's fine for consensual adults, but we're talking about a separate thing, which is kids and non-consensual. And of course, it's not okay if it's kids or if they're women who are not consenting, who are being, you know, their videos are being sold and shared over and over and over again on Pornhub. Obviously, that's terrible. But I still feel like there's a larger discussion to be had about the harms of pornography as a whole. And I'm annoyed that people even have to offer that caveat where they're like, oh, no, this is fine. Like, I don't have anything to say about this. But, you know, we're talking about, you know, there's this line and here's the line and this is fine. And we're not going to talk about it. And this is not fine. And this is what we're talking about. This is why Pornhub is terrible. Like, Pornhub is terrible for more reasons beyond just the fact that there's like uploads of like minors and women who are not consenting to their videos and their images being posted there.
Well, I just like my continued question. This goes back to our very first conversation. It's like, how does that scale? How do you possibly confront the demand for sexual imagery?
Right.
Propagating on the internet. How do you ever actually how do you even start to understand the desire for that, the demand? Like, you actually have to understand the dynamics of the demand, and then you have to construct a morality that, one, is better than that in the long run, but two, kind of, you have to appeal. You have to appeal, and you have these different groups. I think, speaking of Reddit, like NoFap, I think it's called, like these men who give up masturbating, and they get kind of crazy. After like a month, they like, it's like, dude, you need to like go relieve some pressure, because they start like,
go have a shower, man.
Like, overboard, you know? So I mean,
like that, and I sort of respect that NoFap community, but at the same time, I'm like, you don't have to stop masturbating. Like, you can masturbate, just stop using pornography. Like, I think, I sort of think, and I mean, maybe this isn't a very hopeful solution. I mean, it's not a solution, but it's like appealing to people's kind of morality and their own sense of like their own respect for themselves. I feel like that's probably more effective than just shaming and being like, this is bad, but being like, oh, this has a negative impact on my relationships. This is a negative impact on my ability to like perform, to, you know, have an erection, essentially, like to stay hard. Like, this is having, because it really does. And I don't know if men realize that. It's like women notice and they talk about it and they know that like you have sex with a man. Like, women have said this to me many times, and it's like, oh, like, he couldn't say, I think he watches too much porn. Like, we can tell. Like, we can tell the difference between a man who can perform and a man who can't perform, and we can sort of understand why, and we're judging you.
Yeah, that
not
ever-present
but
judgment. No, I understand. I can deflect.
And appealing to this sort of like moral sensibility of like, you know, this isn't healthy for society. This isn't healthy for you. And there's a lot of men who aren't going to care about any of that stuff, but maybe there are men who will. And I think that's evidenced by communities like NoFap, and other, I can't remember their name, but there's other communities of men who've, you know, identified themselves as porn addicts and quit and see themselves as in recovery.
Yeah. I need to, I need to interview some of those men. I've interviewed a lot of sexologists, and what I've gleaned from the sexology community is that they have no problem at all with pornography. They don't think it has anything to do with actual performance, and that it's completely, but they're kind of weird. They're really weird about sex. They're like a bunch of Vulcans. It's pretty intense. You've spoken with some of them.
Not really. Like, I'd like to. Like, I've wanted to interview somebody from NoFap, but I actually haven't been able to reach anyone. So if anybody...
No, I'm talking about like James Cantor or Michael Bailey.
The sexologist. Sorry.
Yeah, the sexologist, yeah. Like Ray Blanchard.
I mean... it's a cat.
Yeah, sorry, it's Bodhi. Do you mind? You can bring out your bacon.
Is it a boy? No, if I wake her up, she'll just start whining.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say he's cute, but then I didn't want to assume gender.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely a bro. He's a bro.
Cute. It is cute. I know that I talk a lot of shit about cats, but it's cute. Fine.
Yeah, I know. I just avoid the topic of dogs because they're beneath me.
Okay. Well, no wonder we're not married yet.
Get a room. We can't. The dogs and the cats don't get along.
Sorry, guys. So we'll just have to be your private fantasy. People in the comments, I mean, not you. Or whatever. Either way. I guess the sexologist, well, whatever. We don't need to get all off into a whole other track, but I mean, I guess some of them
okay,
are
so
kind of
this is
weird.
just my
But
question
I guess
because
I just find that they're too like I feel sort of like annoyed by their over scientific approach to certain issues because
well, they're
when we're getting
non-emotional.
into
It's not over
sex,
scientific. It's under emotional. I think that's your
yeah, well,
problem that
that's
you
a
have
bit
with it.
weird when we're talking about like sex and sexual
Yeah.
behavior and sexual
Yeah,
relationships.
that's the most interesting thing about talking to them. Like I have to completely shift my whole world. It's like, okay, this is not emotional at all. This is not about like some fantasy land of like actually having a beautiful relationship. This is just a biological function that people have
Yeah,
crazy desire to do, and they do it in all these crazy ways. You know.
yeah.
So it's really interesting. But I've also interviewed, well, I've only interviewed one, but like one of the top performers of OnlyFans. It'd be interesting to hear you guys talk, Ayla, because she produces and she's making very good, like $100,000 a month, just doing stuff on her own and publishing things on her own. And it's a big nuanced concept because I think that there's different. I think that you're totalizing the world of porn. I don't want to come off as somebody who's defending porn, but I think that there's levels of propriety with regards to erotic imagery. I think
I
that
believe you.
I think that there's literary types, and I think that there's personal types. I think there's performative stuff that doesn't necessarily degrade the woman at all, but still provides just as much erotic charge through a virtual medium for the man. And yet, I totally agree with you that the way in which it wires or rewires the brain or trains the brain on certain sorts of stimuli doesn't necessarily is not necessarily conducive to actual real life in time, unproduced bodily secretion bearing mushing of these weird geological forms that kind of came out of this DNA thing. Like the whole physical aspect of sex, once you get into the virtual aspect, it actually becomes more disgusting. I think that's one aspect of pornography that does impact it negatively.
I mean, I will say, do you need a 3-minute break?
I need to go turn on the oven, but you're not going to sing or whop for anybody. And by that, I mean dance.
I mean, I think I might need a 1-minute break also, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, could I just like, you guys, will you all stay here if we just like mute our screens for a minute? Is that
I don't
okay?
need to mute, but you can mute. But yeah,
Well, I don't want to show everyone my sweatpants. I'm wearing sweatpants, and if I stand up,
wait, hold on, I want to see. Are they like pink? They have like little Hello Kitties? Are they blue?
Green. Like they're nice
sweatpants.
sweatpants.
Okay, nice. Okay, yeah. Okay,
I'm not like
we're quality woman. All I needed to see was your knee.
They're
now we
good
know
quality.
like the level.
All I need to see is your knee through a pair of sweatpants, Megan.
See, that's how powerful you are.
Okay, sorry,
right.
you guys. We're just gonna mute. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm here.
Oh wow, perfect timing.
We're back. Okay, I was gonna say something. I was trying to remember it that whole time because my brain sort of works on a like minute to minute basis. But okay, so the other thing that's true about porn. So I have like a problem
the other
with
thing
porn.
true about porn. Like
for me
is
that I don't like pornography. Like the idea of watching other people having sex does not appeal to me.
Okay.
And
what about literary? Like Anais Nin, erotica. Is there any? And I'm sorry, we probably shouldn't be having this. I don't know if we need to go down this road. So let's just leave it at that. Okay, let's just leave it at that.
I don't know. I mean, I
like
can't.
video,
I don't,
audio,
I don't
video
read
stuff.
I don't read a lot of erotica, so I can't even speak to that.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not like I'm not saying I don't. I'm turned off by all sexual imagery. Like in movies, there's obviously like sex scenes
Like
that can be
Chris
like
Hemsworth,
hot sex
maybe?
scenes.
Or Henry Clavell. or
I don't even
clavicle,
know who that is.
Who's your big screen crush?
That's a good question. I feel like, oh no, I feel put on the spot. It's tough because it's like I feel like a lot of the men that I'm like
Michael
who are like,
Fassbender.
okay, wait, let me come back to this. I need to think about this carefully before answering. But no, but it's like the idea of like watching two people that I don't know get naked and have sex doesn't appeal to me. Like I don't want to look
Okay.
at strangers' bodies. Like to me, the
Oh.
idea of a dick pic has always baffled. I was like, why would I want to look at a photo of anyone's dick?
I don't
Like if
understand
it's a
that.
real life dick,
I do not
great.
understand that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Or like,
Okay.
why would I want to like? I don't. It doesn't appeal to me at all, and I actually find it kind of gross. Like it's like, why would I want to look at a stranger's genitals?
Yeah.
You're
No,
like,
that understands. Yeah. Well, I think that there's, I mean, I was a teenage boy. There's something incredibly overpowering about, doing a paper route and like finding this like magazine. You're like, what is this? And you open it up and it's like this magical power. It like completely like changes your entire chemical body makeup. And it's just photons. It's not even photons anymore. It's just like printed imagery. Like it has a very powerful, captivating effect on
sure.
the masculine envelope or enneagram or the way that we're set up. Much
Yeah,
more.
sure. I mean, I guess I just can't really.
And I don't like, from our first conversation, it's like, how do you stop that without really understanding that men have a very deep drive for this, and pornography tricks the brain in such a way that it just makes it concentrates that feeling, and then it makes it controllable too, which are both things that you have problems with insofar as it diminishes their performance and causes them to over expect things on women. So I understand the negative aspect of it. I just challenge you to really kind of understand how powerful that drive is.
Sure, but I mean, okay, and Shawnee in the comments says, what
Shawnee?
did they do before porn existed? Which is sort of always my question. It's like,
Are
well,
you
I
serious?
understand that drive.
The oldest archaeological finds are naked women.
But they're
Like
drawings.
no, they're like little models of like fat little women called the Venus whatever.
Okay,
Like
but I feel like
men have
that's significantly
always
different than
like you
what
could
we're
put,
dealing
to
with
quote Jordan
now.
Peterson,
Like
you could
it's
put
like,
two circles and triangle on a wall and a man will get erect over it. Like we are programmed visually.
sure, and I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything wrong with that per se, but it's just like the what people are watching in pornography and the extent of use and the early
Yeah.
age at
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
men are
No,
using
I'm not arguing against your argument. I'm just saying that you need to modify it to understand. If you want to actually change it, you need to understand the deep desire
I
that
understand
men
the
have.
desire, and I don't want to
Okay.
shut down desire. Like I'm not
Yeah.
interested in like changing your brains or rewiring your brains. Well, I guess I am in a certain extent because I think that men's brains have been rewired by porn. Like I don't
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
like a natural
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I mean, I don't know what the solution is because I don't want to
Yeah.
ban something. I don't want to censor something, but I still think that it's so harmful on an individual and social level that I don't know. I mean, I suppose education, or I suppose again trying to limit the ability of these companies to make money off of pornography so that there's less of it and that there's less incentive to abuse people and exploit people.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't disagree with you, but I just think it's a very big, steep challenge.
Sure, of course. I mean, I don't know how I would do
right?
that.
And I kind of think back. I think I've mentioned him 3 times now. Of Jordan Peterson, there was an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. Somebody's like, "Do you watch porn?" And he's like, "No. Why would I do anything that makes me weaker?"
Yeah.
So there's
exactly. That's a good argument.
A virtue-based argument that you kind of just have to put out there, and people either agree with it or rise to the challenge or they don't. But you can't actually, I'm sorry, I just don't see how you actually change human nature. I don't know how you put this particular genie of the internet back into the bottle.
I
I
mean,
don't
I'm
know how
not
you do that.
suggesting you change nature, but I think that Jordan Peterson's argument and approach makes sense, and I wish that
Yeah,
more men would understand that. Because,
I
like, I
I
don't
agree.
respect a man who uses porn. It's not
Yeah,
even about me judging them as a misogynist. It's like,
yeah,
I kind of see you as pathetic now. Like, you
yeah.
don't have control over your behavior. Like, it's like
Hmm.
you should be making good choices for yourself and
Well,
for your relationships, and you just seem like it would be like imagining you using smoking crack or something like that.
yeah.
It's like
Okay. Yeah.
picturing you sitting at your computer jacking off to these women who are pretending to enjoy themselves but really hate what they're doing. Like, it's like, I don't know how much I like you. I don't
Yeah.
know how much I don't respect that.
And again, I'm not arguing against you. I just think that it's a very steep thing to try to change society. And the greater question is, how do you take that value and scale it so that other people can see the value of your values?
Okay, so I remembered sorry. You were like, who is your celebrity man? Okay, so this
Oh.
is gonna like, okay, see, I'm already turning red. My rash is gonna
Oh,
come
wow.
out. But it's weird. Like, it's like, okay, so I recently had a dream that me and Joe Rogan fell in love. And I
Oh,
also
wow.
have
That's
had
psychological.
I've had sex dreams about Joe Rogan before. And Joe Rogan is not my type. So this is why,
Oh,
like, I'm
wow.
not into short men. He's not, but,
Is he
and I've
short?
also, yeah, he's short. Okay. Also, the other people who I've had sex dreams about, not going to list all of them, but they include Jimmy Fallon, Seth
What?
Meyers, and Tony Soprano.
And Tony Soprano. That is like, that's the orange in the apple
Tony
cart.
Soprano more than once.
Oh, geez. I think this is about. I think Rogan and Meyer. I think all those three guys are like what you're trying to become. Is
Right,
is
so
kind of a
maybe
basically
I'm,
talk show host, right, or a
yeah,
podcast
it's
or whatever. Like somebody's
projection.
great. Yeah, I think that you are embodying what you want to become, and you've turned that into a desire. Tony
Sort of, but I
Soprano,
also
though.
like am into like funny men. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
Joe
Okay.
Rogan is
Yeah.
like a fun, cool guy who I would
Okay.
probably have fun having sex with.
Okay.
Like,
Interesting. But
despite
why?
his height issue.
Why Tony though? Is it just like the absolute
I don't
unbridled masculine energy? That's really intense.
I
Tony's
know, but I
intense.
find him like, I just rewatched The Sopranos from beginning to end. I just finished
Oh
the
yeah.
very last
How many
episode a
times
couple
do
of
you
weeks
say,
ago.
"Get the fuck out of here"? Do you say that all the time now? The fuck
No.
out of here. Fuck out of here.
Do I talk like an Italian
No, I'm just
mobster
saying. You
now?
watch that
No.
show, you're probably gonna start talking
Well,
like
I've
that. At
started to
least in
see
your head.
everything through like a mafia lens. Like, I
Oh,
see
good.
everything
All right.
somehow. But
Opportunism. Yeah.
like, I think, I mean, I don't know. I do find him attractive, and it's odd because if you look at him objectively, he's not objectively attractive, but I find him
James
attractive.
Gaffirini he's cool though. Actually, if you
Yeah, I like him.
yeah,
So I don't know what
rest
it
in
is. I
peace.
mean, I feel like that goes to show how much a dating app wouldn't work for me. Because, like, would I
You
look at a
need
dating
seven
app and
seasons.
see Joe Rogan or like Tony Soprano and be like, yeah, that's my man?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
it's probably a masculinity thing and like a power thing. Like, I'm not into like beta males, obviously, but like,
Obviously.
well, based on my sex dream
Oh, okay.
repertoire.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about your interview guests, but whatever.
Okay, obviously.
Not a
Sorry,
beta.
I missed a chance for a
I played
compliment.
all of my beta points yesterday. I admitted to finding Douglas Murray distractingly attractive. I
I
admitted
saw
to
that.
using eye cream and crying. And then I spoke to a sensitive man and defended him against rude feminists. So I played all of my beta cards one day. I got them all out.
What
It was
was
like crying in a movie.
what was the sensitive man? Okay, I saw some tweets of yours. Maybe this is the same thing. You said, I hope that
You're
I'm
not
getting them
allowed
in the
on
right.
Twitter.
I can
You're
still
not allowed on
see
Twitter.
Twitter,
Okay.
right? You understand that, right?
No, I don't understand it. You're doing something illegal right now. I like it. It's enticing.
Um, I mean, I'm not like a rule follower, obviously.
Obviously.
Like I'm still partying. Fuck you, COVID.
Yeah.
So okay, I know feminist activism has conditioned people to cry
Can I just say what I
sexist.
tried to say? Are
Yes.
you going to run to read it?
No, yeah, just no, just say what you were trying to say.
Like,
Is this
like,
if this is what you were talking about, then yeah.
yeah, I'm frustrated by ideology insofar as it programs people to have a conditioned response to stimulus. And when this man was talking, this man is okay. There's levels to this. It's very difficult to find a man who's willing to talk about their gender issues. It's difficult to find a man who has detransitioned. Men who transition and detransition, they want to leave it behind them. They don't want to talk about it. It's very rare to do that. So it's a very rare thing for a man to open up and to open up about this. And then the man was basically just talking about how his brain changed when he started taking estrogen. And he
Right.
started to have a much more complex emotional life, and his brain was able to keep tabs of multiple things at the same. He started to multitask and become more emotional. And somebody extracted that from the context of him just exploring his experience, exploring his gender, and called him sexist. Right. So I just get frustrated insofar as certain strains of the ideology that goes under the name of feminism condition women or condition people, it doesn't matter, to have an automatic response when they see a certain strain of a man saying, I have more emotions because I'm on estrogen, and seeing that as sexist. I understand that it can be perceived as sexist, but it's decontextualizing like this very complex experience of this man trying to get in touch with things that he perceives of as feminine. So there's two sides of it. Yeah, breaking down these sexist stereotypes. It's a very fraught endeavor. I'm trying to say I'm gender positive insofar as I just want people to be very careful in the pursuit of breaking down these so-called sexist archetypes, because I think that there's things behind them that you don't want to let go of, just as there are things behind he and she on a pronoun level that you don't want to let go of. You don't want to let go of sex, and you want to preserve aspects of gender. Be critical of them. I'm fine with being critical. I'm fine with being playful, but there has to be respect towards these stereotypes, and projecting that stereotype in a vulnerable situation on a man who's opening up, which is very rare, I thought was just out of place. And I thought that was a counter to a respectable way of treating the man.
Sure,
That's just
yeah.
basically what I'm saying. And I understand that there's more than one take on that.
Yeah, I think that's a terrible response to somebody who's like opening up about these things. I didn't observe that engagement or conversation, so I can't
I
speak
probably I
directly,
didn't
but
contextualize it properly in the tweet. Like Twitter just decontextualizes everything. So
yeah, of course. My issue with gender is not actually that all gender is bad. It's just that I don't want, I mean, obviously, like I don't want these stereotypes to be assumed or imposed on people in a way, like it's like,
yeah,
because I don't fit, like I
prescriptive,
don't
not
fit within lots
descriptive.
of these
Yeah,
feminine
yeah,
stereotypes. Like there's
yeah,
lots of
yeah,
aspects of me that are masculine,
yeah. And
and
you
I
should
don't
not
want
like
somebody to say
become a
like, "Oh,
man
you're
to yeah,
not a good
yeah,
woman because you behave in
yeah.
this way," or
Or
"You're
you should be
not like
trans because of
attractive,"
that. Yeah,
or yeah,
yeah.
or
You
"You're the
make
opposite sex
yeah,
because of it."
yeah, yeah. I understand that.
And it's like I don't, there's lots of aspects, and I felt like this way since I was a kid, unfortunately, which is like there's lots of aspects of masculinity that I like and that are good, and I've sort of always felt like femininity was an unappealing thing. Like when I was a kid, I was
Yeah,
like a tomboy, and I didn't want
yeah,
anything to do with like girl stuff because I thought it
yeah.
was like stupid and pathetic and weak. And I sort of I tried to like untrain my brain in that way to be like, okay, don't be so like down on femininity. But now I still sort of feel that way. I'm like, I don't really want any of these qualities or like any of these qualities. Like, I want to be like rational and dominant and
And funny like Fallon, and
and yeah,
conversational like
and be
Rogan, and
funny
murderous like
and
Tony.
like practical and like active as opposed to passive. Like, I'm not that. I don't think I'm particularly nurturing. Like,
Yeah.
And I mean, being nurturing isn't inherently like a bad thing. Obviously, women have to be nurturing because otherwise we'd have like a lot of abandoned babies, for example. But it's, like the idea that women are somehow inherently more empathetic than men. Like, I don't know if I buy that. Like, I really do think that that has a lot to do with socialization and a society and like women not holding men accountable. Like I do think that men are not being held accountable by women in relationships. And so there's part of me that blames it on women. It's like, stop letting men get away with this shit. Like, hold them to account so they can't be like, oh, why are you like picking on me all the time? Just like leave me alone. I do think I think that we're overly empathetic when it comes to men, and I think that men are fully capable of being empathetic, and they just don't have to be in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah. Or they get exhausted by it because it is rather emotionally taxing.
Well, it is for us too.
Yeah, I know. But you guys are you're stronger in that direction. We have better muscles. You guys have better hearts.
I am developing some very good muscles, so.
No,
I've
yeah.
been weight
I mean, you swim,
too.
you box, you get pushed around by a big man.
Yeah.
Twice a week. I think there's a lot of aspects.
My deadlifts, my squats, my bench press.
Deadlifts.
Okay, anyway, sorry, go on. Yeah. I'm just showing off now.
As you should. I think that there's always, I think it's really fascinating why I invest so much time into gender is because, and why it always kind of leads back. There's all these different axes of emotion and desire going on in there. We describe what we want to be, and we are also describing who we want to be with. So kind of like bend it back into dating and relationships and finding the right partner. Like, you kind of have to know yourself. And you have to know like what parts of you are manifesting what you want in somebody else, and what parts of you like are lacking that you want to find in somebody else, right? There's all these contours and clefts and fissures in the human being that another human being like kind of lines up to and doesn't line up to, and the whole process of going and maturing in a relationship, the adventure of relationshipness is that, and that's kind of like one of the aspects of gender that is very active, very powerful, because in certain forms of sexuality, AGP is one, I think, where the man is exhibiting what he wants in a way that like he can't get it out of himself. Like, he can't find that in somebody else. There's a lot of really interesting tricks that our minds are playing on us, that gender is just an inescapable aspect of the human experience. So I'm kind of gender positive in that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, so what like I've come around to in the past couple of years or whatever, maybe even
your
the
great
past
turning.
I know.
Your great conservating.
Like, it's so my turning is so difficult to discuss in some ways, because I think that it would have happened either way, because I do think that I'm sort of like stubborn and difficult, and I do push back against dominant ideology and the status quo. Like, I'm inherently kind of argumentative, but in an annoying way. But I was also like impacted by the person that I was in a relationship with.
Yeah.
And then by proxy, the sort of media that I started to engage with, which I had avoided and written off. So I wasn't even looking at it. And then when you start to, do the thing that you're not supposed to do as a leftist and feminist, which is like not to just be like, this person is terrible, I'm not even going to listen to anything they're saying because they're bad. And you start listening and you're like, oh, they're not so bad. Like, they have some good points, and actually I agree with this, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But I think that, like, I have to admit to myself that it's like, of course I'm attracted to masculinity. And of course, like, in a relationship or even with my male friends, like, I appreciate that person being a leader and kind of taking charge and being decisive. And part of that has to do with masculinity, and part of that just has to do with what I'm lacking which is that, you know, like I'm indecisive, I can't make decisions, so it's nice if somebody's going to be like,
And yet you're
okay,
stubborn.
let's do
You're
this.
so
Yeah,
complex.
I know, it's really difficult. I don't want somebody to like tell me what to do, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that, I want to do this. Like, you're wrong. But that, I mean, that's the other thing, is that because I'm sort of like a dominant person, like I can't really be in a relationship with a man who's like not dominant and aggressive, because I'll just like walk all over him and I won't respect him and I won't be attracted to it. But also on a physical level, like it's like I don't you know, you want like a bigger, stronger man who can protect you if there's an intruder or like
COVID.
COVID or like the zombie apocalypse or whatever it is. It's like, I don't know how to shoot a gun. Like, I don't know how to fight off a zombie. I don't know how to build a thing. I don't know how to fix a truck. I don't want to learn any of these things. I just want you to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's
well,
like,
you know, I don't think there should be any shame in a woman wanting to be a princess, and there's no shame in a man wanting to be a king. But the basic values are that we're working together. We're trying to work together to have a better life. And that's going to take the hardest thing of all, which is change and honesty and exposure. And I don't know if dating gets you there, or the expectation. Dating culture doesn't necessarily set you up to understanding just how complex a life together is.
right. And so, I mean, I guess like the aspects of this like female dating strategy that I related to and I could see as being empowering is that women are so, or they feel so disempowered in relationships. Like they feel like dicked around and taken advantage of, and somebody cheated and somebody left them, or they gave up their career for this man and now he's having an affair, or, you know, they've put all of these parts of themselves aside in order to accommodate him and support him. And then what did I get in return? So maybe I should approach dating in this way that's like completely unsympathetic and like, you know, unemotional, and assumes that he's gonna screw you over. Like that sort of seems practical in some ways, but also on the other hand, maybe a bit like inhumane.
It's I do I approach Reddit more and more with, well, certain aspects like this particular subreddit I approach with a sense of sympathy for the people and trying to allow that everybody's kind of expressing a part of life that they're at right then and there. And if anybody from there would listen to me, I would just say take everything with a grain of salt and really try to interact with people in a human way if you can. Like spend time with people. Don't be so judgmental. Give people wiggle room to have faults. Don't expect so much because you're setting up yourself for disappointment, but really listen to yourself and have some fucking fun, right? But also like respect yourself in a way, and don't be loose. I would say that, but you know, I don't want to tell anybody what to do, and I'm telling that to the men
what's
too.
Being loose?
Don't be loose.
Like, what if you really are into somebody and you want to hook up with them? Like, you should not, just so that you're not loose.
I'm
Like,
just saying,
I don't have that kind of self-control. I'm just like defensive.
Well, okay, you have some.
Like I don't, like I said, like I don't think casual sex is good. I don't think having sex with strangers is good. I'm not interested in casual sex. I'm not interested in having sex with strangers. But if like, I mean, what if loose is like whatever? Don't have sex like.
No. It's like one and then another and then another
like
and then another and then another and just running from one person to another. I think you leak your value. You leak the value out of the experience. It's a form. Yeah. It's the same argument for porn. It wears down, and then you're skipping so much when you don't allow yourself to constellate desire in a larger frame of personality. Like there's more, the desire gets you in the door, but there's all these rooms beyond that. If you like kind of get some stamina to explore, you might be surprised with what you find.
Okay, and that goes both ways, right? Like it's like I feel like in a relationship you want to feel chosen and you want to feel special. You're not like everybody else. So if I'm with a man and I'm just like, "Oh, you've hooked up with who the fuck ever. Like what am I?" then.
Yeah, no, and my advice is for men and women. It's for individuals. Like, you know, be a little patient.
Yeah, and you just, I mean,
And
I
savor.
think yeah, I mean, I think it is similar to the porn thing where it's like, do you not have any self-control? Like, are you not selective about the choices that you make in life, like for you and from an ethical perspective? Like I think that men sometimes will be like, oh, well, women shouldn't be like slutty because no man wants a slutty woman, but it's like women don't want a slutty man either. Like, you know,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes me
yeah,
disrespect you as much as it might make you disrespect me. Like, it is not a
yeah.
one-way thing, and men are deluding
No,
themselves when they think that it is. It's like, no, I'm judging you too. And it
yeah,
doesn't make me like, it makes you feel bad if I sleep around because you feel like you're not the man and you're not special. It makes me feel bad if you slept around because then it's like, yeah, like I'm not this individual that you've chosen. I could just be any vagina. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be that.
yeah. I hope that even though we sound like old, wise people, that there's some freshness and nuance we brought to these age-old, don't sleep around values that were suddenly
I
on the
think it's
side of.
valuable for such like young, hip, attractive people to be, you know, bringing back these conservative traditional
Yeah,
values in a
straight
way that
edge.
like other
It's
young,
sexy.
hip, cool people can relate to. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Restraint is sexy.
I guess like we should log up. We didn't even talk about
Yeah.
you being far right, but
I could show everybody my alt-right t-shirt if you want to end on that, but I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
if
yeah.
that's
Let's
correct.
let's
You want
do
that?
that,
I
and
mean, I
then
don't have
we'll
like,
have visual proof
I
that
kind
you
of
are
have, I'm
far
getting
right.
a
Just as
Tony
this,
Soprano body. So I guess
I don't
I
think
won't.
so, but good luck. You're like, maybe now what I have to do to get.
You just be tubby and smoke a
I'm
bunch of
not
cigars.
into
It'll be
tubby
fine.
men. This is the weird thing.
So
Caucasian proud.
no, it's just like instead of the Redskins, it's
Yeah, I
Caucasians.
get it. I get it. I get it.
Okay, you get it. Yeah, it's not.
I'm not
It's
a white
ironic.
supremacist, you guys. That was a
No.
joke.
Yeah, no, neither am I. That's a joke. But I guess if you joke, you're far right because the left can't meme. So,
I'm not proud of my white skin. It means that you can see like any blemish or
oh
scar, and
yeah,
we
huh?
age badly, the very white.
Oh, you're doing fine.
Well, I
Graceful into
try,
that
but
far
thank you.
right, to quote you.
Yeah, like yeah, I mean, basically, we can sum up what happened to you easily, which is that somebody did a paper and they decided that you were part of the far right
They decided
YouTube.
that the entire anti-woke movement is far right. That's what they
Oh, okay, so
basically
that's
did.
me too. Because you know what? I looked
Yeah.
up that
So you would have
website
been
that
there.
you
Yeah.
mentioned, which is called
Transparency dot.
transparency.tube, and we had
Yeah.
exactly the same designation, which was centrist
Anti-woke
and
and centrist.
anti-woke.
Yeah. So it
So
was
then
more
I guess
fair.
I'm
Yeah.
far right too.
Well, according to that one survey, and the survey got so much flack that they're like,
Okay.
oh, actually, other researchers like this is really good on one level, but you guys are complete idiots by not understanding what you did on these other
Yeah.
levels. So
The problem with academics, it's like you have no idea what you're talking about.
no, they're just up in their towers, poning the noobs. Thank you for this evening of
This was really fun. I mean,
badassery.
I don't even know what that was.
I don't know. We'll see.
A really good date.
It's a good date. I hope you have some good bacon.
Yeah, I'm gonna make dinner now.
Okay,
I'm
good.
gonna make my
Enjoy
one meal of the day.
your
But yeah,
keto, or it's not the weekend yet, so you don't get your whole
yeah,
pizza.
I can't have carbs
Okay.
just yet. I have to wait another like day and a
Hold
half.
on. You can
Thank
do
you
it.
for your time. This was really fun. I hope we can do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll come on my channel. Thanks, Megan.
Okay.
Have
Bye,
a good night.
everybody. Thanks for coming.